The Mental Fight of Your Life is a book of breathtaking realities. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the review of The Mental Fight of Your Life by Freddie Floyd Jr. And this is actually a fantastic book that really piqued my interest while I read it. You know, I've been following Freddie Floyd Jr. writing for some years now. I've read his book, You Are Designed to Be Successful, which I reviewed I think a year or 2 years ago. And I've also read his God's Gift, Woman, which I seem not to find currently. It's probably somewhere on the shelf because it has a very small spine, so I'd have loved to show it to the camera. But then picking up this one, this new release, The Mental Fight of Your Life, is quite very amazing to me. It's very dynamic, and I've never loved Freddie's writing in this dimension. This got me captivated. It got me thinking about my own life, and it pushed me into the ocean of my own emotion. You know, it's well written, it's amazing. But then before I proceed in my review of the book, I love to read the synopsis at the back page of the book. The book's first 5 chapters speak directly to young adult men as they grow into adulthood. This teaches them the importance of standing their ground to be real men, fighting against themselves, to not give up on themselves as men, how to love their wives, and understand a position in their life. The remaining 6 chapters are directed to both genders as they grow and attempt to understand their work in partnership, from having standard in relationship to asking the big question before you say, I do. And I think that's one of the reasons why the book actually speaks to me. You know, reading it gets me introduced to something very different, something quite exceptional, into a new world and into something that I'm just getting to know freshly. You know, starting from the first chapter that talk about the fight, Freddie Floyd Jr. was so keen to talk about the fight that we go through or experience as young adults. And this does not ask to necessarily be physical fight or physical combat, fixed exchange, or something like that. This has to do with the fight within us, the fight for recognition, the fight for success, the fight for advancement, the fight for good life and all of that. And here, Freddie talk about dysfunctionalities in family, and there's a statement that he made towards in page 2 of the book that I would love to read out. So he wrote that who is not dysfunctional? You understand, I haven't been able to find any family in the Bible that wasn't dysfunctional, because all families on the heart, it makes no difference about your background, came out of the Fox family. And baby, they were dysfunctional. You know, this part actually is a bit contemplative in my opinion, and it could make for a very debateful and argumentative conversation if truly there are families on heart that are not dysfunctional. If truly there are families on heart that are thoroughly perfect. Well, I'll leave you to, judge that in the comment section. Do you think all families on heart, or do you think there is a family on heart who is not dysfunctional, who doesn't have one issue or the other? And also, this also goes to the point that even though we look up to other people outside as being successful or as being great in family, we do not have an idea of what is going on secretly in the home. So the question of dysfunctionality in family really piqued my interest, and this part actually got me resonating on a book I read in time past titled Essays from Dysfunctional Families by Cassie Bell. And again, Freddie also goes on talking about, following on actually from his description of dysfunctionalities in family, was able to touch on the story of Cain and Abel, who are brothers and end up fighting one another. And then he made reference to the things that could lead to fight between brothers, and one of the things he mentioned was the fact that when one feels intimidated by one another's success, even though the person that was being looked upon as being successful, in his own perception, is not yet successful because he still has some secret in him. He still has some things that he's still wrestling and looking for answers, looking to achieve, that those people do not have an idea of. And so this feeling of this secret, this inner fight, this fight for recognition, this fight of attainment and all of that could sometimes make such person who is being perceived as successful to look down his or herself, to not recognize that yes, he or she is truly successful, and to be blindfolded by the things that have not yet been done over the things that have been done. So it really makes for a very typical and interesting conversation, and it really speaks to me in person actually, and I can relate with most of the thing written here. This, alongside with other points, alongside with other themes, alongside with other facts mentioned in the book, really piqued my interest and got me captivated, that I couldn't drop the book until I finished indulging all of my emotions in it. Then Freddie goes on, talked about love. It talks about love in different categories. He mentioned eros, he mentioned philia, and he mentioned agape love. So here, there's a very interesting conversation as to how we should love one another. Then the book also goes about, I love to consider the book a book of breathtaking realities, because even though it's a short read, I so much love it because it conveys some deep realities that even get me thinking about my own life, and realities that would help you develop yourself, develop your attitude, and level up your discipline actually. Then Freddie also goes on expounding the fact of being a godly woman, be that godly woman. And in my own perception actually, this chapter, I kind of think that it acts a sort of a link or reference to his previous book, that's God's Gift to Women, which of course I've read in time past. Freddie goes on to talk about being faithful, about being consistent to your woman, about understanding what men need. And here, there's actually a juxtaposition as to what both gender needs. One that needs love, and the other that needs respect, and how things have been mistakenly. And again, I would love to talk about the writing style that Freddie has here. I love his writing style because at some point, he writes this word in a conversational manner. Then at other point, it looks as if he's, challenging you, to reprehend you. And in other instances, it's a bit sarcastic. It has a bit of humor in it, conveyed by actual reality, conveyed by deep truth. Freddie Floyd Jr. slaps the reality, slaps the truth on my face, not minding if I get offended or not. Actually, it's a great book, and I so much love it. Then it also goes about talking about different themes and how couples should treat one another. Be that woman, a godly woman, and you must stop being a victim. Here, there's a great stance of realization, there's a great stance of the exploration of the victim's mentality and the fact that most people are not self-dependent. Freddie mentioned the fact that if you want to be successful actually, or if you want to have a great mental fight or overcome the mental fight in your head, then you have to be responsible for everything you do, not holding other people's responsible for the things you cannot achieve. Unlike some people would hold their country responsible for their misfortune, they will hold lack of parental support as being responsible for the things they cannot achieve. They will hold their mother, their father, their uncles who have money who cannot help them as being responsible for the things they are yet to achieve. So Freddie was so keen enough to point out that you have to be the pilot of your own life. You have to be the pusher of your own destiny. You have to be the pursuer of your own, passion and love. These are actually deep realities that quite a lot of people actually need to know out there. And that's one of the things you get in reading. Reading enlightens your perception. It gives you a change of perception of how you address your own life. And it's up to you to live a well, great, and lovely life. Actually, there's much to say about this book and that I wouldn't love to talk more about, just in my attempt to keep it spoiler free. I love to consider the book as a subtle reminder for those people who are married in order to keep them in check, and also for people who are yet to get married. It serves as a great advice, a great source of reference, and a great book that would help you navigate your marriage life. It is well written, it is awesome, it is fantastic, and I so much love this book. book because the information contained in it are life-saving, they are didactic, they are full of morals, they are ethical, and I'm sure to go back to the book, read it again, and reapply all this ethical informations that I've learned to my life. I don't want to spoil the book. I just want to give you a short video book recommendation just so you can have an idea of what Freddie Floyd Jr. has had to communicate in this new release, The Mental Fight of Your Life, that really piqued my interest. And also, I love to recommend this that I read in time past. You Are Designed to Be Successful. It's a great book also. I read it I think a year or 2 years ago. It's very great. So if you'd love to get a copy of The Mental Fight of Your Life, I left a link in the description part of this review for you to get a copy directly on Amazon. And if you watch this video to this point and you're yet to click on the subscribe button, I want to urge you to please click on the subscribe button over there. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you can get notified anytime I release new videos. Thank you so much for watching my short video book recommendation of The Mental Fight of Your Life by Freddie Floyd Jr. See you in my next video. Goodbye.